Here's one of the problems is we're poor judges of our own behavior in advance. We don't know how we're going to react when that market downturn comes unless we've been through it before.
When emotions take over, we become different people. And in fact, we become so different that it's hard for us to recognize ourselves and realize what we could be doing in this other state. So for example, you could make all the promises in the world to behave well, to have safe sex, not to violate some pre-agreed arrangement. But when the moment comes and temptation kicks in and we become different people, all of those noble thoughts would vanish. And we would be left a different person with different ideas, different motivations, and very different behaviors. Imagine a boy taking his girlfriend for a date and promising the father that he'll be a good boy. Now, that this teenager might have all the right intention in the world to behave this way. But what happens when passion ignites, when arousal takes over, when he becomes very emotional? At that point, he becomes a very different person and might behave according to very different standards and norms, creating a situation that he might regret later. This will be a different teenager. In fact, he will not be the teenager that makes the promises. There will be two different people that don't really recognize each other. And that emotional teenager might go ahead and behave in a way that are very incongruent with what they hoped they would behave earlier on.
Yeah. So we have an investment policy statement with our investors, and it tells us how we're supposed to behave, and we're going to stick to it, and how you're supposed to behave and what you're supposed to do. But when we get put in hot situations, we might behave a little bit differently. That's the reason we have to rehearse in advance. What are we going to do if something happens, if we get put in that hot emotional state? If you haven't rehearsed what you're going to do in a hot state, and you're not totally committed to your prudent diversified portfolio, what's going to happen? And it's not just in investing, it could be in relationships too. What if you get put into a hot situation with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and someone else comes along? You have to rehearse in advance what you're going to do if you get put in that situation. Same thing with investing.